So cost management is all about estimating the cost of the project, then preparing a budget, and then controlling the expenses so that we deliver the project within approved budget. Cost management plan, then estimate cost, then determine the budget and control the cost. Okay, the three are in planning section and one is in control section. Now the first step is about setting up a cost management plan, and setting up a cost management plan also means we should set up a cost management system in place. We should put up a cost management system in place. Okay, if you see, we have as an input the project management plan and the charter, and we have to come out with a cost management system. Okay, basically what comes from the project management plan is the schedule, scope and the schedule of the project that we have already prepared. These are the main input as a project management plan. So basically you need simple analytical skills to prepare a management plan that we already know. What is in the cost management plan, what exactly goes? We define up to what level of accuracy we will maintain in our cost management, where we will round off, where we will truncate and similar things. What will be our unit of measure? For example, in case of efforts, our days, or in case of money, in what currency we are going to measure it. We should set up some control account. You might have seen in your organizations called cost center. So having some cost center and mapping those cost center to our work breakdown structure at place to place. Okay, and then also defining our threshold. Like in schedule management plan we define threshold, here also we define threshold, that how much threshold will work. How much threshold, what is the variation which says okay, not a problem, but beyond that variation we say let's take an action and bring the things back into threshold. We should put up how we're going to measure the performance of the project. What is the criteria for that? Like in the schedule management plan, same here. What will be our reporting format for reporting the cost performance? What are the processes of estimating? What kind of tools, techniques we are going to use for estimation, budgeting, and controlling? Okay, so let's look at what is estimating the cost. Now if you look here, you will see that most of the methods are same which we used in schedule. So the method is not changing, only thing is that here the estimating is the money, is the cost part, and that is there was the duration part or the scheduling part. What additional come over here There's something in the reserve analysis, so it's a little more than what we did in schedule. We also include the cost of the quality. We also talk about vendor bill analysis, and group decision making techniques is a tool which is always used in all kind of discussions. What additional come over here is the risk register, because we need to consider the cost of the risk as well. What we come out with the activity cost estimates and the assumptions we made, the constraint, the things which are basis for the cost estimating. Now in the cost estimation, depending upon at what stage of the project life cycle we estimate, our variation will vary. So when it is in the conceptualized phase, that is in the initiation phase, the project is in initiation phase, the estimates we call rough order of magnitude. We call rough order of magnitude, ROM, and the variation is plus minus 50%, and therefore the accuracy is low. When the project is starting, when the project is started or in the planning phase, we create a budget estimates, which are normally not as varying as rough order of magnitude, but they are also varying a considerably, and therefore the accuracy is moderate. And the third type of definitive, when we have executed a project, we have started the project, we have planned everything, we know much more about the project. Even then, because they are estimates, they may still vary, and so it will go plus minus 10%, and the accuracy level is high. Before we go into, we also understand what is the direct cost, what is indirect cost, variable and fixed cost. What is the direct cost? The direct cost is the cost which is being spent directly because this project is getting executed. So the human resource, the resources on the project, direct cost. The material we procure for the project, the equipments we bought or hired because of the project, any service facility contingency, even the training. It also come here. Training come at both the sides. It could be entertainment also. Here also. Such kind of cost also comes. I tell you what is the difference. So if training is happening because of this project, suppose you launch a project in a financial domain and your people do not have much idea about finance. You called a meeting to let people understand the financial domain. This is simply the reason of project. If project was not existing, this training would have not happened, and therefore this training is a direct cost. Similarly, if you are holding an entertainment party or something for this project, the cost will go to the project and it will be a direct cost. Now what is the indirect cost? Indirect cost is the cost of the surroundings which help this project to execute. For example, there are managers, they are helping staff, there is a support staff. The manager which is not directly working on this project, so like project manager and the manager of the project manager. Now manager of the project manager does not come fully on this project, right? And it is basically a support to project manager, it is basically a oversighting role, and therefore that the manager of the project manager is basically come into indirect cost. Support departments are there, quality assurance is there, admin is there, like all these costs we are spending to support all the projects in the project in the organization. Therefore a factor of such cost goes to every project, and that is also goes to the project. Project exist or do not exist, these costs will still be incurred, and therefore these all projects will share a part of such cost. So these are indirect cost. A bench cost, you have like organization is keeping some people free so that the project can be executed quickly or can be started quickly, and therefore the bench cost will be an indirect cost. Now, facility cost. Facility means your electricity, your desk, your cleaning, everything. So it is everything is there, and therefore those are also cost, and a small factor of that will cost to the project, and that is come as a direct cost. Now with the general training is happening, overall development of the employees and HR training, communication management is happening. Now training for communication management, not specifically for this project, is basically a indirect cost. A general entertainment is happening, some party the organization has called, it's not specific to project. That entertainment is also have a cost, and a factor can go to the project, and therefore it could be an indirect cost. What is the variable cost and fixed cost? This is capital expenditure, we normally called capex, and this is operational, normally called opex. Right? So variable cost, the cost which we can over a period of time we can control it by some action. So like resource cost, if I reduce the resources sometime in the project, I can reduce the cost. Means variable cost is the cost which I can manage over a period of time on the project, in the project life cycle. The fixed cost is cost which is first, if incurred, irrespective of how the project goes, that cost goes to project and you cannot make any difference. So like setup cost, you are starting a project, you need some software licenses, you need some computers, you have bought some computers, bought some software licenses. Now this money is spent even if the project closed tomorrow. So fixed cost is the cost once incurred, it is incurred once only, it's not recurring cost. So resource cost, material cost is the recurring cost based on the what is happening in the project, you do these expenses. Fixed cost, mainly the cost which actually used to start the project or support some operations. Equipment, you can also write equipment here, but here it is hired, not purchased. If equipment hired, it becomes an operational cost, that is a variable cost. If the equipment is purchased, it becomes a fixed cost. Right? So cost estimating the cost is basically understanding overall cost of the project. We use analogous estimate, we learned yesterday. We use expert judgment, normally called WBS estimates. Okay. Parametric, we learned they are based on historical information as well as formula based. Bottom up estimates, we learn about it, that if this is the project hierarchy, then estimating these and then summing them up to this, the 5, 10, 3, 4, how much is that? 22, so here becomes 22. This is bottom up estimates. This is 15 and this is 7. Okay, 3 point estimate, PERT estimate we talked about yesterday. Okay, reserve analysis, talk about reserve analysis. We also understand the cost. What is the cost of quality? To ensure quality in the project, you need to make some investment. Suppose you hired a QA. So QA has a cost, right? Who will check that if your project deliverables are of quality or not. Repair cost or training, etc., so that the quality of the deliverables will be good. All these are investment for the quality, and therefore come into cost of quality, and therefore should be part of the our estimation. Otherwise, how these activity will be addressed, right? So we'll look into this. Another thing is that vendor bid analysis. Now, in many cases, the sponsoring organization or the customer organization who are executing the projects have no idea how the project will be done. What are the all actions to be done? What is all the work involved in the project? How much it will cost? So what they do, they float a tender for request for information or request for proposal, and they receive the information from they get the information or the proposals from various vendors. Now they analyze the approach and the cost of the each vendor. By analyzing them, they come to know that cost of this project is how much, or what is the approach we are going to take. So they analyze five, 6 bits and see the approach, and the most common things are the essential things. Other things are not so essential. Okay. So and they also compare the cost with the approach and then come out with the estimation, and that is called vendor based analysis method. So they learn from the vendors that how the cost project will be done and what should be the cost of the project. So what we come out with, cost estimate of each activity. What is the basis of the estimates? All the assumption, constraints, anything we have considered for estimating the things, we should document that as well. The next thing will come as then determining the budget. So what is determining the budget? Can anybody tell what is budgeting actually? Anyone? What is budgeting? What is determining budget? Total cost or expenditure come on all. Okay. Estimating a cost of. So what is the difference between estimation and budget? Limiting the cost. I didn't get that. Fix certain amount for each activity. But that is how you have come out with the estimates. Yes, we did a bottom-up estimates. We estimated activity. If I go back, we have estimating for each activity. How we come with the cost, overall cost of the project, estimate of the project, when we sum it up, bottom up, sum it up. So that will be, then you are saying doing this thing back to the activity, then like we have, like in the previous one we did, right? Like here we did like this. Then now you're telling me to do like this, go back down, and that is the budgeting. Yeah, I agree you will fix the budget. But what is budget? Are you seeing this 22 is budget in this case? If you can speak also. If you can. The fund allocation. What is fund allocation? I put is 22. Now the fund allocation will be 22 only, right? Or less or more? So my estimation is 22 for the project. What do you think? What would be the allocation? 22 or less or more? It should be less or equal. Okay, you know what is you call a chartered accountant? You tell him that you need 22. He will tell you, no, you please complete the work in 20. Why you need 22? That is the answer you get from chartered accountant. That's great, right? The financial people come from the that mindset that okay, let's reduce the expenses. The cost allocation available for expenditure. What will be available? This 22 only, right? This only available to expenditure, isn't it? Or more or less? My simple thing is that I have four activities in this. One is costing 5, other is 10, this is 3, and this is 4. All sum up to at the top, the project cost come to 22, right? Now tell me what should be the budget of the project and how it is different than this 22. Cost allocation available for expenditure. That is right. But that will be same as estimate. Okay, plus minus variance. And how much is that variance? In budget also, budget is a baseline, right? Whatever budget you will fix, that will become baseline. This 22 is the maximum threshold calculated. How about tell me budget? Budget will be 22. So what is the difference between estimation and budget? This is direct cost plus other cost. Okay, let me explain you. Suppose this is timeline. Okay, you already have schedule with you, right or wrong? You have already prepared a schedule. In fact, project schedule is one of the input if you have seen. So what does that mean? Suppose on every activity, one person is working. Suppose this is architect, maybe a little expenses. Suppose all are same expense. One resource is working on all this. That means now the work is happening such a way. We start with, I give them name. This is A, this is B, this is C, and this is D. Right? There are 4 activities. The work happens such a way that project start with C. Okay, you can use the estimate to bid for a project. After you got the project, you need to make a budget. I agree that you have to make a budget, but what is budget and how you make it? So what I am showing you, I am making a budget. So it starts with the C. C runs for 3 days. I am directly going with that every day you are spending some money. So suppose the 3 stand for $3. Every day you are spending $1, something like that. After second day, you started the activity B. It runs for 10 days. Right? This is B. In between, when the project was here, you started the activity D, and immediately after that A. Right? So what is the expenses? Let me draw the things here. On first day is this, second day is this much, third day is this much. The fourth day it will be this much. It will go up to this time this much. After that, these two will become like that. Oh, sorry, it will come down. Yeah, it will become like this. Now here you again go up, then you come over here. It goes up, then you come here, and then it goes like this. Right? Are you able to understand? Here I go the gravity of the expense bar. I am talking about expense bar. Let me draw like this. Expense bar is like this. Then here if B comes, it will go like this. it will go like this and come over here, come down here, it again go up, then come till this here, come down, and then goes like this. Correct? Right? So here I spending one, and then 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, no, 1, 1, 1, and then here 2, 2, 2. I'm taking very simple thing actually, and then 1, 1, 1, 1. So what is my budget? If I say first week I will spend this much, second week I will spend this much, third week I will spend this much, fourth week I will spend this much. Right? And this is called the budget. How I am going to spend my money over the time is called budget. Time, we say it time phased expenses is budget. So what you are saying, this allocation go back to this, but not to these activity, but on the time. Now I can track over time with the budget. Am I spending as per my budget, or I'm not spending as per my budget? Is that clear to you? Make sense? So that's the difference. Let me further simplify. You have decided, you have a, suppose 1 lakh salary. You have decided that 50,000 I will spend every month. So your monthly budget is 50,000, right? But this is not budget. We call it a budget. This is not budget. This is allocation. Out of 1 lakh, I have allocated 50,000 for the expenses. Rest 50,000 I will talk about something later. But now when I decide how this 50,000 will be spent, like 3,000 will go for milk, 5,000 will go for fruits, 4,000 will go for vegetables, 10,000 will go for children's educations, 5,000 will go for traveling. Once you put for these activities that how much money will go, and this you draw a plan for that how this money will be spent in what had, then you have a budget. Otherwise, if you don't have this plan, you don't have a budget, you have an allocation. So even if you say the finance minister talk about budget, he normally tells that how I have this much of money, I'm from XYZ sources, I'm earning this much of money, and this is how I'm going to spend. This is called budget. If you don't know how it is going to be spent, this will be allocation. Like in the last year, the expenses, Mr. Chidambaram allocated for Nirbhaya fund some money, but that is not that is as in the finance it is budgeted, but for that particular thing it is only allocation. When we allocate fund month wise, not month wise, activity wise, action wise. So first C activity will happen here, then we will do B, then we will do D, and then A, and this is how this is coming as per our schedule, right? We have prepared a schedule, Without schedule, you cannot develop a budget. So money is get spread as per the schedule, and then we freeze monthly expenses that in first month we will spend this much, in second month we spend this much, third month is then, and that freezing will be our budget. So our normally budget come like this. If I keep adding the resources coming over here, I will get like this. And this line is actually budget because it is a time phased expenses. Until unless you know how you're going to spend, you cannot say it is a budget. Okay, so in budget we do a cost aggregation. Cost aggregation is basically an extended activity of the cost estimation. We do some reserve analysis, and based on that we work out that how we, based on our project schedule and the activity cost estimates, these two things come together. Then the risk response plan also required some money, and scope tells us that what is actually to be done. We prepare budget as per schedule activities plus other cost, and accordingly fix monthly budget against the sponsor allocated fund. Absolutely right. So based on this you do aggregation of the cost, then you do a reserve analysis that how much contingency or management reserve is required. You put that buffer on that and create a baseline, and based on your schedule and the money allocated to each activity based on the over the time, you forecast your fund requirement. You're going to buy the raw material, right? So you, based on this budget, you forecast your fund limit which you give to the finance team, and then finance team based on that fund requirement, they release fund to you to buy raw material to produce the finished material. And therefore the outcome of this is cost baseline, and cost baseline is nothing but a budget, and budget is nothing but the time phase expenses. So we come with the cost baseline, how we're going to spend the money, and then how and when we need money to procure the resources. Make sense? Okay, so this is an aggregation. This is if I correctly tell, this is a pre-budget activity to reach to the budget fund, the fund allocation, to decide on the allocation. So you have activities, you allocate, you aggregate them up to the project estimate. Then you define contingency. Contingencies are normally for the risk mitigation, or simply say risk response. Risk response is the right word. Okay, then we create a cost baseline. Cost baseline contains the project estimates plus the contingency buffer, make it cost baseline. Then the management reserve. Management reserve is for the unknown risk, means the risk which we fail to identify, or risk are larger than the project can consider them. To protect the project from such risks, a management reserve is kept, and normally management reserve is not kept for each project, but is kept for the group or the group of projects. It is spread over multiple projects depending upon who needs what, it goes. Right, and that is called the project budget. Now that will get allocated to each and activity based on the this get allocated to each activity based on how they are scheduled on the project. And then we come out with the monthly budget, that how much every month we going to spend, or month on month we going to spend, or week on week we are going to spend. Based on that, we do funding limit reconciliation. Basically, we forecast that how much money we need at what time, and then we keep reconciling it. So first month so many resources, second month we have so many resources, third month we have so many resources, maybe even more, fourth month we have even more, fifth month little more, sixth month little less, and sixth month even less. Now this get accumulated, this plus this is this point, this all the three sum up with this, all three sum up with this, all four sum up with this. The cumulative cost up to 6 months is this, and cumulative cost up to 7 months is this, which is called budget at completion. That is the project budget, total budget for the project, or you can say total allocation for the project. And this we freeze, so we know every month how much we going to spend, and every month how much total we will spend, right? And this will take us to the project fund requirement. So we will give how much fund we need at what time to procure the resources. Then now things come the cost controlling. Now you have estimated the total cost of the project. Then you have based on your schedule, you have allocated your total cost to the project and prepared a cost baseline, a cost budget, which is you have frozen, called cost baseline. Okay, now it is the time to, when we are executing the project, to control this. That means there are two things to in controlling. Every time we are every period of review period, we ensure that how much we have incurred so far and how much we have to spend in future, right? So as of now, and the forecast, both are important. Even the forecast is much more important than status today. But because forecast is depend upon the status as of today, so status of today is also important. Because we cannot take action in past, we can take action only in future, and therefore forecast is important. But to reach to the forecast, we need to know where we stand today. So for that, mainly we employ earned value management. So the project performance data comes, that is the collected data, that is the data collected while executing, and then we apply earned value management and forecasting and getting the current status and forecasting for the project, and we come out with the project performance information, that is plan versus actual, cost forecast, and change request if there is a variance. Okay, so what is EVM? Let's understand the EVM. How EVM help us to control the cost, not only cost but schedule as well. So we have three things: PV, EV, and AC. PV called plant value, earned value, E for earned value, and actual cost for actual cost. So let's understand these three terms, because everything depends upon these three terms. Okay, be carefully understand. If you find something confusing, please let me know. You have a task to do. Okay, suppose in 2 months, or suppose in 10 days. Total money you're going to spend is $100. Okay, that is your budget. When you say it is equally distributed, it means every day okay, this is how it is. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5. So this is the middle. 1 2 3 4 5, and here we are ending. Okay, here we are, there is nothing here. Okay, so up to this we have to spend $100 every day. We're going to spend $10 because it's a 10 days work. Now you are at the 5th day. You are at the 5th day and estimate and checking how I am performing. Correct? And you assessed that you have spent $60 as of now. You have spent what you here it is. You have spent $60 as of now, and what you have achieved is only 4 days of work. 40% achievement. Your task completed 40% and you have spent $60 as of now, and it is 5th day. Okay, got it? On the 5th day I am measuring the progress. I found I have spent $60 and achieved and completed 40% of the work. So what does it mean? It means I have PV, plant value, I have EV, earned value, and I have AC. So can you tell me what is the plant value here? No, I'm talking plant value. No, plant value on 5th day. I'm talking about the 5th day. I'm not talking about the total cost of the project. I'm talking about on the 5th day, what was the plant value? See, every day, how much I have planned to spend? $10, right? So, in 5 days, how much I supposed to spend? 50. So that was my plan. As per plan, how much I was supposed to spend is my plant value. Earned value means value of the work which is achieved. So what is the specialty about the earned value management is that it converts everything into dollars. It converts everything into dollar and then compare. So it achievement, planned, actual cost is all converted into dollars. So I have completed 5 days, and in 5 days I have to achieve the work of 5 days, and 5 days work cost me $50, and therefore PV is $50. Earned value is the planned value of work achieved. How much I work achieved? How much work I achieved? 40%. So what is the value of the 40% work? $40. Right? So this becomes 40. And how much I actually spent? This is simply clear, crystal clear. $60, right? So in this transaction, when I'm measuring my progress at 5th day, my planned value is $50. My earned value is $40 because I have achieved 40% of the work. I have spent $60, therefore my AC is $60. Right? If in any project you can measure these three things properly, rest of the calculation is just multiplication, division, plus minus of these three terms. Okay, you got it properly? Now let's look at this. This is BAC. In this case, BAC is $100. Budget at completion. What is the total budget? This is $100. Estimate at completion means now I am at this position. I have spent $60, achieved only work worth rupees, worth dollar, $40. Now what will be my estimate? So that estimate, that now right now it in the originally it was I supposed to spend $100, but going with this that 40% achieved in $60, do you think I will complete this in $100? Probably $120. I don't know. Suppose if $120 is the cost, then it will become $120 in this case. What is ETC? Estimate to complete means from this is 120 is from this place to this place, and ETC is from this place to this place. That means the total EAC and I minus the actual cost spent. So another 60. Actually it's not going to be another 60 because another 60 may get only 40 if at this pace. But let's assume that rest of the things we will do quite good. Okay, so in this case it becomes 120 minus actual spent. 60 becomes 60, right? So ETC means whatever the remaining estimate from today till end of the project. This is total cost of project, new estimate of the total cost. Third is VAC, the difference between the original BAC and EAC. In this case it is minus 20, right? BAC minus EAC. Got it? Is that clear? Let's go to next. Now I calculate my schedule variance. Schedule variance is the difference of earned value and planned value. So earned value was in this case 40 and planned value was 50. So it is minus 10. Minus 10 means I am behind schedule. So if it is negative, behind schedule. If it is positive, ahead of schedule. If it is 0, on schedule. Similarly here it is 40 minus actual, that is 60, equal to minus 20. Again the cost variance, if it is negative I am overrun, if it is positive I have underrun, if it is 0 I am spending as per my estimates, right? In this case I am much more overrun than schedule overrun. Cost overrun is higher than schedule overrun, right? Now this is the variance on 5th day, right? On the 5th day. Now SPI, at what rate I am going, at what rate I am going, that is 40 divided by 50 equal to how much is that? 0.8, right? So 0.8 means I am running at 80%. When I supposed to achieve 100%, I achieve only 80%. So my achievement is 80% of the estimated duration. So I am running at 80% efficiency. What about this? CPI is 40 upon 60. It is 0.67. That means, what does that mean? That it is about return on investment. I invested $1 and I get a return of 67 cents. Correct? This is, I supposed to achieve 100%. I achieve only 80%. So my rate is 80%. And cost performance means what are the returns I am getting on my investment, right? Actual cost is my investment. So actual cost is investment. How much I achieved? 40%. That means I am running at a rate of 67 per dollar. $0.67 per dollar, or 67% against cost. 80% against time and 67% against cost. Got it? Now I believe you all follow cricket, right? So you understand it well. What is this? This is your current run rate, and this is your TCPI. CPI is your current run rate, and TCPI is your asking run rate. Okay, second inning is going on in the one-day series, in a one-day match, and this is my current run rate, and this is my asking run rate. If I move with this rate, I will complete the project in budget. So what is this? BAC minus EV. How much it is? EV is 40. So it becomes 60, right? Divided by AC. BAC minus AC. How much is AC? AC, no. Yeah, 60. So it has become 40. Right? Is equal to, how much is that? 1.5. So if I run at 150% efficiency, means I have to work so that every dollar give me $1.5 of return. Then I will complete the project within my budget. Got it? ETC is EAC minus EV. EAC minus AC. Right? I will come to this little later. Let me go to the next slide. Because next slide contains how I calculate EAC. So there are different conditions, different situation in the project. I calculate it differently. Okay. So what are those situations? First situation is when original estimates are fundamentally flawed. Means I have such a variation that I see that my original estimate do not make any sense. I'm going to re-estimate. So re-estimation doesn't take away my actual cost which I have already incurred so far. So this plus now what I estimate for the remaining work. This is an exceptional scenario. Very rarely happen when I re-estimating after certain interval that my total project is going haywire. Let me re-estimate and then prepare the different baseline. Most common scenario is this. At the rate I am going, I will continue with the same rate. Observing no variance will continue with the same expenditure rate. Means if I am running at 0.67 efficiency, I will continue with this, and this formula will give me the EAC. Right? So this is about 100 divided by 0.67. How much is that? How much is that? $150, right? So it will be 150. So my EAC is 150, right? 150, but EAC 150 in this case. The third case is, as of now, whatever variance I have seen, they were of weird nature, or they were initial teething trouble, something like that you can say. Therefore, I do not see in future. It means whatever gone wrong is wrong. Like I have, this is something like my cost baseline. I've gone little wrong going above this, but now I will follow the same curve. So whatever the variance have come so far will continue till end. Means as of now I see that I have achieved 40% in $60, right? That means I have achieved $40 worth of work in $60, but now whatever remaining I will complete in remaining. Means what is remaining? Remaining is 60%, right? I will achieve this in $60. That is what I am saying. That now I do not see any such variance. I will achieve 60%, remaining 60% of the work in the estimated cost. That is 60% in $60. So in this case, the EAC will come out to be 120. Correct? 60 I have already spent, 60 I am estimating. DAC minus EV, and that will be correct. Got it? So now if I go to previous screen and calculate ETC, in the second case it is 150 minus 60, that is $90. In the second case it is 120 minus 60 is equal to $60. Right? It depends. Now if you look, these are specific conditions. You must be provided the condition. If no condition is provided, nothing is told about how the in future will say, that means we should assume that whatever the way we are going, we will continue going in the same speed. Let's understand it one more time so that we are absolutely clear. This is our cost baseline. At this point of time, we are measuring our progress. We have spending little more, deviating, going on the upper side, so spending little more. And achieving little less. Right? Spending more than baseline, spending less than the baseline. Then our CV is, this is AVC, right? This is clear. This is PV we supposed to do. This is actually we spent. This is what we earned. This is our schedule variance. We supposed to achieve this much, but we achieve only this much. And this is our cost variance. This is our cost variance. We achieved this much, Therefore, we supposed to spend only this much, but we spend this much. Don't confuse the difference between this and this. We have achieved this much, and therefore we should spend only this much, not this much. And we have spent this much, and therefore this difference is cost variance. We'll do an exercise. In your handout, you have a form. You can fill that. I will explain you. A project comprising of 4 modules is to develop. Each module takes 1 month to develop with estimated budget of $5,000. Modules are planned to be developed in sequence. Status of the project at the end of 3rd month is presented below. So every module will be developed in 1 month. So there are 4 modules going into sequence will be developed in 4 months. Okay, every module will spend $5,000. We are here and assessing the impact, assessing the progress. What the progress we say? This is started and finished on time, and we spent $5,000. This is started on time but finished later. But today, if you see, it is finished, but we spent $6,000 on that because it got delayed. It's supposed to start here, but actually started here because they were in sequence. So once this is finished, this started here. This is partially finished as of now. So we are on the 3rd month, right? We are here. This is here, right? So we are spent here. It is partially finished, which is saying half done, 50% complete. But we have spent $3,000 as of now. We need to calculate all the parameters of EVM. Okay, I keep this in front of you and you calculate, or I can keep this in front of you. You can look in your handouts. I think the first one will be better, right? Because you can calculate on this. So you need to calculate PV, EV, AC, SV, CV, CPI, SPI, DAC, EAC, ETC, VAC. So let's do one thing. You do this exercise and then go for break. It is 8:55 right now and we'll meet at 9:30. Will that be fine? Right? So take a cup of tea with you and solve this puzzle. And then when you come back, we'll see the solution of this. So we'll resume at 9:30. All is well? Are your figures are matching with these figures? Yes, great. Yes. Okay, you people have learned very quick learners and very disciplined also. I see all people come back on time after the break. Great. So should we move forward, or do you have any question anywhere? No questions? Let's go forward. So we have gone through EVM, and that is the main concepts in controlling the cost, basically in controlling the schedule as well. So it helps us to forecast. We know EAC and ETC, okay, and TCPI. We also get to know TCPI, right? And this all with the help of EVM. We can do variance analysis with the help of EVM. Every time we are measuring EVM, every time we are measuring EVM, we can create a trend and do a trend analysis also how we are performing on various parameters over a period of time, right? Over time. And we can keep doing our reserve analysis also, seeing that how much we have consumed contingency reserve. We can provide the work performance information. We can do a budget forecast, how much more, how much less, or going to spend now. Because of that, we can have to create change request. Okay, and that's all. Mainly in project cost control is more cost control is basically about unvalue management, understanding the current status and forecasting in future that what how we going to do in are we going to meet our we will complete this within our budget within schedule, not be able to, if how much, then what is the variance we are expecting at the end. This will help us to forecast much in advance, give warning to the people much in advance, setting expectations which ultimately bring happiness, or even if the project is delayed, people are not so disappointed because if you are continuously in touch with them, can check with their priorities. I think you, when there is a challenge, you can at least address their priorities, right? So this is all about cost management. Let me know if you have any question. So far, anything related to anything, not only cost. If you have any question, we can discuss it also that. Also. These are logical breaks where we can take up even the past things as well. So if there are cost control measures, if any, okay, there is some question. Whose control measures, if any? Cost control measures, if any. The cost control measures means you need to, cost is controlled by resources. By procuring more and less resources, you can increase or decrease the cost. So what is this means? If you have to reduce the cost, you means you have to find out more efficient ways and see that you can do the work with the lower cost people, but with a condition that it will not delay the project. It means not increase, because if you take the low cost resources and it increase the project duration, ultimately it will come out to be same or even poorer. So cost control measures can only be taken on variable cost, and by slashing some kind of a scope, by reducing the cost of the resources, by taking side, like by outsourcing the things. There could be many actually. It all depends upon the control measure. It totally depend upon your project, type of project, what is exactly the situation today in your project. That depend, the measurement depends upon that, or the measures depend upon that, what actually you do to control the cost. These are the things to know. This EVM is a kind of mirror which tells us where we stand and how it's going to be in future. If you want to change the future course, you need to take the cost control measure, and those measures are completely specific to your project and the current situation in your project. The situation changes, your measures will also change. Okay, welcome Rupesh, and I hope you are well and feeling good. Management of all other contribute to the cost control, right? Absolutely. So we have, so Rupesh, we have completed like in your and you the scope, time, and this cost chapter as well. And now people are attempting the questions of the cost management. Okay, so let's attempt questions of cost management. Next, I think there are 15 questions, maybe 10 minutes should be more than sufficient. Let's see. Next 10 minutes, they are yours. So if you still be doing, we will still take some more time. Don't hurry up. Look at the questions. If you are unable to understand, see the slides. If you still finding it that there is some concepts you have not understood, there's some problem with the understanding, you can just note it down. When we discuss these questions, highlight them, we will discuss those things. Right? Do not hesitate to refer your slides in case you find, because there are some formulas, etc., difficult to remember in the first instance. If you do some practice, it will be easier to do. Okay, so next 10 minutes are for you. Let's revise. What about question number 1? Question number 1A. That's great. Question number 2. Not done. Okay. Let's see how we can do this. Your project has a budget of 240,000 and duration is 1 year. The work and budget is spread evenly across all months. That is similar to the example I took. Okay, and then the project is now at the end of fourth month. So it is like that. You have 12 months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12, right? You are at fourth month. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and now it is on schedule. However, spending it is on schedule means you have achieved 4 month. It is one third, right? Or as scheduled. 4 months work you have achieved. The spending for this time is 100,000. Okay, what will be a variance at completion? So we have to find out PV, we have to find out EV and AC. So what is PV? PV is 240,000 in 12 months. It means 20,000 every month. It means in 4 months it should be 80,000. You achieve completely, but you spend 100,000, right? Is this right? Now CPI is right. Then the EAC will be BAC upon CPI. So 240,000 divided by zero point 0.8, right? So how much it will become? It will become 300,000. So VAC is EAC or BAC minus EAC, right? So 240,000 minus 300,000 is equal to minus 60,000. I got it. I didn't use formula first. Okay. Simple. Go with them the scratch. The simple. Use simple formula and things are simple. What about question number 4? Sorry, question number 3. Oh, Q3. Sorry, Q3. Question number 3 is D. I think people have answered the question third only. So D is right answer. Very good. And let's talk about question number 4. C. Great going, yeah. Question number 5. What about Rahul? Rahul, it is B or it is Rahul already given. Okay, sorry. So this is great here. Question number 6. You have got it things very clearly. If you have answered the 5th question, then I'm sure that your concepts are quite clear now. At least concepts are clear. You may incorrect some of the questions, but your concepts are good. Question number 6A. Okay. Very good. Great going. Question number 7. Question number 7C. Question number 8. I think cost is the simplest question, the simplest chapter, it looks like. Question number 8. B, all B. Okay. You all are going good or you are all going wrong? Okay. Let's read this eighth question. Okay, it is saying you are the project manager for a high visibility project. The margin on the project is low. It is important that the cost estimates for the work on the project be accurate and it should be executed with the tight monitoring. Just give me a moment. Okay. It should be executed with tight monitoring to prevent any cost overrun. You are reviewing the cost estimates received from team and you notice that cost estimates for one of the work package in the WBS is 10% higher than what was in previous 2 projects for very similar work. What should you do first? Didn't we apply the same formula we discussed in the morning? That if something surprising, something unexpected come in front of us, what should we do? What should be our first approach? What should we do first? Analyze. Even before analyze, there was a step. Analyze is right. What was that? The previous step to analyze. What do you analyze? You have to collect information, right? Get more information about it. And then analyze. Then prepare a plan, action plan. And then inform to the stakeholder if it is required. And then take the action. So what is this? Accept the estimate because you trust all of your team members and they are responsible for estimates. This is an action, right? You're accepted without analyzing. Reduce the estimate but add this additional cost to the management reserve. First of all, management reserve is over and above project cost, project budget. So project manager does not have access to it. Second thing, it is also an action without analyzing. Third thing, ask the person responsible for estimate to explain the difference and bring supporting information. Means we are seeking more information on that to understand what is his point and reduce the estimate. Again, action. So A, B, D are actions and C is collecting more information. That should always be the first step when you get some surprising things. So it should be C, right? That's the difference between mathematical question and a situational question. The formula I am giving you can apply to any question and you will definitely figure it out the best out of the first question. Okay, let's go to 9. B. Okay, great. Board question number 10. CBC. Oh, why? What characteristics best describe the cost baseline? Total budget of the project? No. Time phase cost of the project? Probably right, but let's look at the third and fourth as well. Total budget for the project including the management reserve? No. Management reserve are not part of the cost baseline. Project costing plus contingency reserve make cost baseline. And as I explained in length, that time phased expenses are project budget. Or that's what they're saying, the time phased cost is the project budget. The money which is we have to spend on the project, we spread as per the schedule and then figure it out every month or every period how much we're going to spend. Contingency is not management reserve. There are two reserves, contingency reserves and management reserve. Contingency reserves are, see, you have risk in your project. Some risk you may be able to identify, but there will be some risk you may not be able to identify. Okay, some risk would be larger than your project can handle, like disasters management, some earthquake, some flood or something else. You may not accommodate this in your project. To mitigate the risk against the risk which are not, which project team couldn't identify or the stakeholders couldn't identify, or maintaining such disasters management type of risk, the management reserve is kept. Contingency reserve is for the mitigation or the response plan of the risk which are identified. Some risk mitigation provisions which you have done is part of the project budget, but not management reserve. Okay, so let's go to 11. The right answer was B. Oh, this is the simplest one. You need not to do any calculation. The answer is purely C, because only SPI is less than 1. CPI is more than 1, so it's good. Total float is 8 days. It doesn't tell us good or bad. We don't know 8 days of float is good or bad. So nothing can be concluded with the 8 days float. 10 activities are on critical path. We don't know. There could be 100 activities on the critical path. Is it going to make any difference? and you also have a resource in buffer. I think you should not worry about anything else. Anything else you have to worry is the SPI is equal to 0.8, right, which is less than 1, and the schedule should be you should worry about. Therefore, we have to find the critical information in the question. We should not get bogged down with the unnecessary information which is there in this. But even if we behind schedule, as of now, we have buffer days to cover. We don't know buffer days to cover. These buffer days will going to, they are not buffer, they are float. The float means it is already existing in the system. This float may not be usable for the critical activity, right? It is on the non-critical activity. Float is always on the non-critical activity. How it is going to help? The problem here is that despite you have a resource in buffer, your SPI is still 0.8. So there is something stopping schedule to move, right? You should not bother about schedule. What about 12th? D, all D, very good. What about 13? Not sure. Project cost control include all of the following. The D is actually saying aggregating the estimated cost of individual activities or work package to establish an authorized cost baseline. Cost baseline is an output of cost budgeting, right? Which is, until unless you have a cost baseline, you cannot control it. So preparing a cost baseline cannot be a control. Maintaining the project on cost baseline is control, right? That's a planning activity. Preparing a cost baseline is a planning activity. All A, fantastic. A, C, C. Okay. See, it is also simple actually, though it is bit confused. It looks very close to the question. The options are very close to each other. See, A says ensuring baseline includes all authorized budget except management reserve. That means we are talking about budgeting. Aggregating cost of individual activities or work package aggregating cost of individual activities or work packages to establish a cost baseline. We are establishing cost baseline, that is budgeting, right? Developing approximation of monetary resources needed to complete the project. Developing approximation, right? Developing approximation means you are estimating. Go to the D. Doing reserve analysis and establishing contingency and management reserves are also part of budgeting. Only C is not part of budgeting. A is also part of budgeting because talking about we are ensuring a baseline. So baseline which is part of the budgeting. Make sense? Okay, but I think you have done a fantastic job on this, especially on time and schedule both. I think you are already ready. You should go for PMP exam and just give the exam. People are going to pass. Very good. So I have half an hour, so I'm not going to run this class now for half an hour. In one of the class we run for 15 minutes over, and yesterday also we took 5 minutes more. So I'm going to finish this off a little early. Okay. And so what you do, let me close this thing here itself. I'm not going to take the next chapter here on quality management. We will take up in the next Saturday. Let me take up the case study and show you what you need to do over the week. Last time you did the charter, okay? I think Rahul did a fantastic job on charter. We discussed about charter. I think you have more clarity on the charter. So I will say you make one more attempt on charter. Prepare a charter once again. And I am sure you will be doing much better things right now, because it's not only about giving exam. It is also about improving practice at work. Okay, that is only makes sense. If you only give exam, become PMP, that is 50% of job done. The success will come only when we will implement this knowledge very well. So I will suggest you once more attempt project charter. Now we have here some more questions. You people have all gone through this case study. Now we have covered up a scope. We have covered up the WBS. We have covered up sequencing, identification of activities. We have covered up resources for each activity. We have covered up estimation of duration. We can prepare a schedule. We can estimate the cost of the project. We can determine the budget, right? Correct? So now you can do from 1 to 9 all. So do one as well. So, and when you come back next Saturday, before that, I will request you if you can come back with all these artifacts with you. You can use for schedule, for like creating a WBS. I think lot of things are provided, so you have to little work around on that. You can identify some activities or take activities which are provided. Prepare a schedule and prepare a budget. You can either use Excel or you can use Microsoft Project or any other tool. Whatever you like, you are good at. Okay, so if you are not familiar with Microsoft Project or like any other tool, use Excel. But prepare a schedule. Schedule preparation required all these things. You have to prepare a scope statement. I'm going to send you a template for a scope statement. You have to prepare a project charter as well. Do it, make it one more attempt. Prepare a budget. That will you estimate cost and prepare budget. So you will be able to estimate the cost. Cost is given. Resources costs are given. Okay, and prepare a budget. You can use Excel for this purpose. Okay. If you can do that, I think you have learned scope, time and cost very well. I think the previous things are also going pretty well. So you will be able to do it like with the, I think 3 to 4 hours of investment over this week. That's what I understand. If you have any question, let me know. I will be happy to address that. Many things actually which are asking above, which are the questions, they are also given here. My simple thing to you is that you just think about one mobile phone, that what type of mobile phone you want to launch. You put this into your objective, that this is the type of mobile phone, this is the audience we are targeting, this is the cost of the mobile phone, this is the purpose, business case. You write the charter, why we are doing this particular mobile phone, why you thought of this kind of mobile phone, why are you like developing this kind of mobile phone, what is your main objective when you are developing this mobile phone, what you want to achieve, market segment, profitability, age on the company over the competitor, whatever your main objectives are. Then also write down your milestone plan, the stakeholders, who are the stakeholders in that. So when you decide on what type of mobile phone you want to launch, depending upon the mobile phone you want to launch, your stakeholders are going to change. Right? Your stakeholders are just not about the team and the senior manager sponsor. It's also about the users. Users are the most important stakeholders. How you come to know about users, what users are looking for. So that is stakeholders, you have to understand what is their needs. Those needs should be addressed in project objectives and deliverables. Also think of some risk involved in that. List down those risks. Okay, these are the risks which we perceive in the, so charter is very important to prepare rest of the stuff. By evening I will send you the template for a scope also, scope statement. You can fill that statement. Okay, rest of the things you can use through with the help of an Excel sheet. You have any question? You please ask. We can discuss some anything you have in your mind. We still have some time. We can discuss a couple of points.